the NCAA. Welcome back to Scarlet and Maize. I'm Adam.
I'm Zack.
I'm sick, so we have to do it this way. I'm sorry. Michigan Spygate? Question mark. Zack, I'll let you go first with your thoughts on all this.
You know, like it's like funny and interesting. Like it when you read the report, it's like this just sounds like scouting. Everyone's reactions like this is just scouting, but like I guess it's because like the rule is you can't scout in person and off campus and all that, and that's what the NCAA is investigating. Which like all even that is like
It's the idea behind that is so that money doesn't play a factor. Which, like, so if we're doing that, are we going to cut back on certain schools' locker rooms? Because some are way nicer than others. You
yeah,
know what I
but
mean?
it's not like a nice locker room gives you a competitive advantage. But
I mean, with the camera, like, whatever. I don't even think it's that big of an advantage. Plus, I saw a few football guys talking about how offenses change their calls and they have multiple callers every game.
naturally, yeah.
So it's like if you watched last week, it's not going to be the same calls. It might not be the same caller this week.
I don't know, Adam. I have heard you say multiple times that you wish that Michigan would cheat. Now all of a sudden Michigan's cheating and they're getting in trouble for it, and you're like, these are
Look,
just dumb rules anyway.
I went to my favorite store after work today, All Star Cards and Collectibles in Lansing, Michigan. And one of the guys there was giving me guff about this, and I was like, I've been saying for a long time that I wish Michigan would cheat, and if they are cheating worse than what it actually sounds like right now, I don't care. Because I told him, like, when Louisville basketball beat Michigan in the national championship, and then later the NCAA said they had to take down everything, it was wiped off the books. Then I went to a conference a few years later and they still had all the banners up. They had posters up celebrating it, whatever. So, like, who cares anymore? Like, I wish Michigan would cheat more than what they're doing right now, whatever this is. I want them to win the national championship this year. And then if it gets taken away, whatever, I'll still have a pennant right here next to these two. It'll be right here. And I'll be happy.
Well,
The
and like
NCAA. I don't care.
I don't agree with you, but like to like add to your point, like if all of a sudden it came out Ohio State cheated in 2014 when they won the national championship, it wouldn't change that moment for me.
No.
Like that moment still happened, and I still enjoyed Ohio State winning the national championship then. Yeah. So okay, my theory is that
Yeah.
this is just Harbaugh setting it up. That
He's the one
he's
that
just
leaked it.
yeah, he's the one that leaked it. He's trying to get all this drama there so that he has an excuse when he leaves Michigan with half-empty cupboards after the season.
I mean, he tried to leave 2 years ago. He was open to leaving last year. I don't think he thinks he needs an excuse. But maybe you're
But
right.
that's the thing is I think he got burnt out and he hasn't been recruiting as well. And like after this year, that roster is gonna do a little bit of this, at least a little bit of this.
Yeah, yeah, at least a little bit. I think it's a little overblown, especially with what some of the younger guys have shown. But
Yeah.
and there are rumors that JJ McCarthy might want to come back. So I may have to walk back what I said last week.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that today. Like right before this episode, I was like, it doesn't really make sense to me for JJ to leave, especially with how stacked that quarterback class is. Like, it would be even in a normal class. I think it'd be questionable whether he'd be a first rounder or not. With this class, I think like there's no way he's a first rounder. But I mean, he could prove some people wrong. He's still got half of this season to make something happen. But
I mean, I don't know if it was the Athletic or somewhere else, but the last mock draft that I saw had him the third quarterback off the board.
yeah, I don't think that'll happen.
I mean, I hope you're right. I hope he comes back.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
so
I just there's that draft. The draft class is just so loaded. Like he's not going higher than Williams or May, obviously. But then there's Penix, there's even like Quinn Ewers. I would expect to go higher than JJ. There's a handful of other guys too that I'm not coming at my mind right now. But that already puts him at 5 in my opinion. But
yeah, I mean, I hope he comes back. I like him a lot, but uh, yeah, I mean, so RG3, JJ Watt both responded to this with something to the effect of, well, they better investigate everybody because this is called scouting. sort of like what
Yeah,
you said.
yeah.
But like it's only an issue, like you said, if they're there in person or if they're video recording it. Um, but whatever. What's weird to me, A, is the timing. So right before the season is the first Harbaugh stuff came out, and then they ended up self-punishing, whatever. But now the first meaningful game, like it's against a technically a rival. But like the week of that game, this comes out. You know what I mean? Late in the week. The NCAA is just full of shit, and I'm sick of them. But like, what's weird?
So so
I think they
so you
want it
think
to be like a distraction. I think they're trying to trip him up. Why would you release it right now?
why would the NCAA care if Michigan wins or not? Like
Here's
if
why.
anything,
I'm
Michigan.
glad that you said that. So your theory was that Harbaugh wants to leave. My theory is that the Jim Harbaugh was very, very, very pro NIL. He spoke out loud publicly about it. He did the
Okay,
same thing about players unionizing, both of which are bad news for the bottom line of the NCAA. And
okay.
that's the motive. The NCAA is dying, and they don't want to die. And Jim Harbaugh, not like directly, but kind of directly, is just saying like, I'm very pro these things that will kill the NCAA. Not to kill the NCAA, but I'm pro these things.
That's fair.
So I
I can
mean,
behind that.
good, we're
That makes
settled.
sense. I
Um,
don't know how many teams have been like. How many coaches have said similar things to Harbaugh? I don't know enough to. I can't think of somebody that would have that has said something that was pro NIL in the past.
I'm pretty sure
Or
Pat Fitzgerald did,
oh
but
boy,
probably Mike
then a
Leach,
student
rest in
reporter took him
peace.
down.
Yeah. But what's weird is that so the Yahoo article said that two teams Michigan has already faced this season have complained about it. But like, who on Michigan's schedule do we think Michigan looked at and thought they're worth breaking rules over?
It
They're
was
worth the risk.
you know Nebraska.
Nebraska. It's also weird that like Michigan's offense hasn't been explosive this year, despite being far less dependent on the run than the previous 2 years. And the defense really starts cracking down after halftime. It's not like
Yeah,
they're crushing them right from the get-go. They're like doing well, but they give up way more yards in the first half than the second half. If they were stealing signals pregame,
but
wouldn't they just come out?
are they like you said? Offenses get new signs all the time. Different guys are given the signs. Does it take Michigan a half to realize which signs are old signs that they're not using anymore, that are just decoys, and
If it takes them an
figure out
entire half
the
to figure that out after recording and probably studying and whatever. It said they had like an elaborate web of people or whatever one of the articles said.
sounds right.
I mean, it sounds like they're really bad at cheating. If this is their like worst attempt at cheating, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds like Michigan.
I mean, I'll say this too, and it's a point that
Just
you've
bad
brought
at
up.
stuff.
It's something you've brought up a few times. But Michigan is 7-0, right? But they're 3-3-1 against the spread this year. So either they're super
They
bad at cheating, or everybody is cheating, or as RG3 and JJ Watt said, they're just scouting.
they beat the spread 3 times.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So now you're like, okay, maybe they were cheating.
Yeah, they were
Uh,
definitely cheating if they beat the spread 3 times.
yeah. There was a staff member from Ohio State's 24/7 site, and he said, I will say this about Michigan. The NCAA has a problem with them. Out of all the schools and everything going on in college football, they are bugging that program. It's funny, like the first Harbaugh thing that came out, everybody except Michigan State fans were like, this is a nothing burger, pun intended. And now this is coming out, and everybody except Michigan State fans are saying this is a nothing burger. This is like
Well,
normal.
the guy that was reporting it on ESPN was saying this is a lot bigger than a burger. I think that's almost a direct quote of what he said. This is a lot bigger than a burger.
Yeah. Um, I think he's wrong. And that's the only person that I've heard of that is not going, good job. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me that the ESPN is the only one that does that too.
Yeah.
That
But I
No.
mean, we didn't talk about this beforehand, but someone try to tell me with a straight face that the NCAA doesn't have some weird kind of hard on for Michigan right now. Between the burger and this is so ridiculous. Like, whatever.
Just don't
Friggin'.
cheat.
I'll stop after this, but this is from Trevor Woods on Twitter. The NCAA operates through a series of leaks to media members without providing full context of accusations against Michigan. Then Michigan isn't permitted to comment on allegations, which leads to the NCAA being able to shape the narrative. In short, the NCAA remains pathetic. And this is what I mean. Like, why would Michigan leak it right now? Why, like the NCAA is the only ones that would have any interest in leaking it, and it would just be to be a dick.
I will say this, like, the only time this is kind of I've just randomly thought of this, and it's
yeah.
Ohio State in 2018 had Urban Meyer suspended for 3 games. Within 2 years, they made it to national championship. Within 2 years of that, they had the whole scandal with Jim Tressel, and it took Urban Meyer 2 years after the season after Tressel to win a national championship. Like it's just not that big of a deal, even if Harbaugh gets suspended, even if they get in a little bit of trouble. Like, it's college football, it's Michigan. Michigan will be okay. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
They might lose another 10 in a row to Ohio State, but
this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. So, according to The Athletic, the Big Ten told MSU that Michigan was under investigation for this, and MSU actually considered not playing the game, not citing fairness, citing fear for the health and safety of their players. For real. That's amazing. So it'll be funny when they find nothing, and then MSU fans blame the loss on the blue wall in the NCAA for intentionally messing with them during game week.
I will say, you said specifically not because of being unfair for the game, but for the safety of the players. If it was for the unfairness of the game, Michigan State would have already backed out of the game
because they're so bad.
Yeah,
that's fair. All right, now to actual football. A recap of last week, kind of actual football. Michigan 52, Indiana 7. So my only real takeaways from this game are Michigan has won 19 straight Big Ten games, matching the longest streak in program history, which is 1990 to 92, and has won 22 straight regular season games overall, which is the 4th longest streak in program history. They're the first Big Ten teams to score 30-plus points and allow 14 or fewer points in the first 7 games of the season since 1905. They're the first team in the AP poll era, which is 1936, to score 30-plus and allow 10 or fewer points in the first 7 games of a season. This is from Zack Shaw, but through 7 games, this is crazy. 7 games, Michigan has allowed 9 trips total into the red zone and has not given up, or they have given up 1 touchdown and only 2 field goals. So 9 trips to the red zone, 1 touchdown, 2 field goals. That's 1.44 points per trip, 3.3 yards per trip into the red zone. Still not a single snap from any opponent has happened inside of Michigan's 10-yard line this season. I get that Michigan's schedule has been worse than expected, especially since Minnesota is as bad as they've been. But they can only play who's on the schedule, and they're leading the nation in average scoring margin at 32.7 points per game, so they've only beaten the spread because the spread's been, or they missed the spread 3 times because the spread was ridiculous early on. It was like 45 or whatever. They're leading the country in scoring margin. They're the only team in the country to win every game by 20 plus so far. We'll obviously find out a whole lot more about Michigan the last 3 weeks of the regular season, but to act like they've been disappointing so far at all is pretty goofy. JJ McCarthy, by the way, is first nationally in QBR, second in NFL passer rating, second in passer efficiency rating, second in completion percentage, third in yards per attempt, and has played 1 drive in the 4th quarter all season. So where some teams, Zach, try to run up the score and get stats, Michigan's taking JJ out probably earlier than any starter regularly is taken out, maybe ever in the history of college football. That's all I got.
Well, it's because most teams have a competent backup quarterback, but
Hey,
also
I'm digging Jack Tuttle from Indiana, man.
this whole spiel about all these stats about how historically good Michigan is
All these
just makes
facts
me
and statistics. Yeah,
no,
go on.
it just makes me think of Bo Schembechler. Like he's the greatest head coach of all time for Michigan, right? Michigan's had this great last 2 seasons. Neither of them won a national championship. Current Michigan or Schembechler's Michigan never won a natty. So where we what are you doing with all these stats?
I mean, we'll see this season. I mean, I'm with you that this is Michigan's best shot to win it. You've said
Yeah.
that before. Like I agree that this is by far the best chance.
Well, and I
But
want to clarify. I say this is their best shot to win it because this will be the best team that they have for a while and the best team that they've had for a while.
I mean,
I still don't think
we don't
I
know what
still
they're going to
think
be in
that,
the future, but next year does look like at least a little drop off. Yeah.
right. I still don't think they'll win an Natty. No offense.
I mean, you can't think they will at this point.
Like even if Ohio State sucked this year, I wouldn't think Michigan would win an Natty. Ohio State could be worse than Michigan State, and I still would think Michigan's not going to win. I just don't think Harbaugh's that guy. No offense.
None taken. I'm not him, so
yeah, he's
whatever.
been in a lot of big games, and he hasn't won most of them.
All right,
Harbaugh.
Yeah, I knew who you were talking about. Do you have any thoughts on this game?
No, I mean, I just said this actually was the lowest rated game of the season as far as like people watching it. I made that up, but it probably should have been because like who cares?
Yeah.
Another bye week for Michigan. Another bye week for Ohio State. Let's just get to the real
Another
games.
bye week for Ohio State.
Yeah.
Okay. Ohio State 41, Purdue 7.
Yeah, I mean, so Ohio State finally avoided a slow start. The run game looked better. Hayden looked like the best fourth string running back who's playing in the red shirt still of all time.
Which game is this for him?
I think one. I think it's game one.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but the thought has been in my mind all season, where's Dalen Hayden been? But it hasn't been to the point, I don't know, like he might have seen the field late in some games, but I don't think so.
If they were planning to redshirt him, that would have been weird.
Right. Yeah, I doubt he's played before this. But yeah, he's the greatest fourth string playing in a redshirt of all time, guaranteed. I really loved Ohio State using Brown in the red zone like Tim Tebow because that just makes it so Penn State has to prepare for that. Anyone really has to prepare for it for the rest of the season, whether they use it or not, which it was successful, but other than Brown fumbling into the end zone. But I think Ohio State's defense still looks really impressive. I'm feeling good about the Buckeyes. They improved where I wanted to see them improve this week, and I think they're on track for a good season.
Good. Next year, when you're sad about the state of Ohio State, they like just tried to hire Luke Fickell and he said no, whatever. Like, I'll be looking forward to that then. But for now, I'm glad you're still excited. So like when I got back from this game and after I looked at all the footage, after I broke down the signals and play calls from Ohio State sideline, I was finally able to watch the game for what it was. My main takeaway is that Purdue is worse than I thought they would be. I don't know. Ohio State looked good. They did what a good team should do against a bad team, kind of like what Michigan's been doing all year. I think Ohio State's good. I'm excited for Penn State at Ohio State. I'm glad we don't have to wait any longer.
For real.
Yeah. Scarlett and May's picks standings. Thank God for Washington. I went 5-3 this week with the extra point. 53-10 overall. It's 84%. You went 4-3 because you didn't get the bonus point. I'm so glad you changed your pick at the last minute. 51-14 overall, 78%.
We both had a rough week, huh?
Yeah, it was not good. All right, viewer questions. First one. Would a Michigan State upset over Michigan be reason enough to make Harlan Barnett the full-time coach?
I think the Rutgers game pretty much solidified where he's at in that. Even if Michigan State pulls off the crazy upset this
Two
weekend.
times putting the onside kick coverage out there, expecting a surprise onside kick is hilarious. I don't know. I think they still could because this is the only game that ever matters for them. Um,
Yeah.
I do think that Michigan State probably learned the lesson here because of Mel Tucker, but like Tucker, I don't know if Harlan Barnett, like, I don't know. Because like he's a former player where old Mel was not for Michigan State. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think they've probably learned. And I don't think we're gonna find out. How are you feeling about your Michigan State pick?
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
All right. If Michigan wins the Natty this season, does Harbaugh go back to the NFL?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
If he leaves after winning the Natty, I think it's because he's scared.
All right. Uh, I think regardless of the outcome, the odds are probably close to 50-50. He said that he wants to make one more run at the Super Bowl, but he's also really happy at Michigan. So like 2 years ago, he tried to leave. Last year, he pulled out of the Denver thing. I'm most worried about Chicago firing Eberflus, so I have become the biggest Justin Fields fan in the world. I think he's got a cannon for an arm. He's more accurate. The offensive line just isn't giving him enough help. They need someone opposite DJ Moore to help him out. They need a running game. I don't know. I just love the Bears, and I love Eberflus, so they should keep him. I think the Bears are one that he would definitely go for. Like he idolizes Bo Schembechler, also freaking Ditka. So I don't think he would leave for just any job in the NFL, but Chicago is one that I think would be easier for him to leave for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think him winning it would change anything, honestly. If Ohio State loses to Michigan for a third straight time, does Ryan Day leave Ohio State? What do you think?
I mean, I just don't see it like being like that. Like I could
What
see
if
him
he loses
leaving.
this week and to Michigan?
I don't like it's just a silly question because like I could sit here and say like no way he leaves, but then he could just leave. Like it's just like you never know what's going on in a guy's mind. Like
Well, no,
he
you
could
never
just
know.
be.
That's why it's like an opinion. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think he should leave. I think he'll be fine. I think even if they lost to Michigan this year, especially looking ahead to the future with like Ryan Day's recruiting has even gotten better recently. Like I just don't think it makes sense. I don't think it makes sense for him to be like, yeah, I can't get it done here and just bounce. Like if that's I feel like that's what it implies is if he loses the third time in a row is that he's gonna bounce because he feels like he can't get it done. But like he
Mhm.
has got it done, and I think that Ohio State, especially with the recruiting and all that, like the Ohio State's so talented. I don't think it would make sense for him to leave because he feels like he can't get it done against Michigan.
Right. Um, I think if Ohio State loses again, it's similar to if Harbaugh leaves. I think it's close to 50-50. Maybe like 40 leave, 60 stay for Ryan Day. But
Yeah, I just don't see it swaying like whether he leaves or not. But like you never know. Somebody some NFL team could offer him some huge contract.
see, but like
I don't.
last year, you were talking about, I mean, he said it too. He was like, this is where I want to be. Why would I ever want to leave? And now you're kind of backing off of that.
No, I'm not backing off of that. Like I just don't. I don't see it. But I'm only backing off of that because you never know in life. Like
You sound like Jim
it's
Harbaugh. Like God willing, and the creek don't rise. It, he's like, no man knows the future.
yeah.
You sound
Okay,
like Jim Harbaugh now. I love
that's what I'm
this.
saying. But like no, I like sure I'll sit here and say like no way Ryan Day bounces, but I'm not that worried about it anyway because Ohio State's going to win that game. So
All right. Big Ten takeaways.
my Big Ten takeaway is that after this Saturday, Ohio State will be the favorite, and nobody will
Dang.
question it.
All right. Um, Iowa had 9 first downs and 10 punts Punting is winning. So they're 10-1 when their punter punts 8 times or more. Their remaining schedule is home
Of all
versus
time?
Minnesota. No, just Tory Taylor, like this specific punter.
Oh, okay.
It's probably way better than that. Even like it's probably not a worse percentage. I don't know, but their remaining schedule is home versus Minnesota, home versus Northwestern, home versus Rutgers, home versus Illinois, at Nebraska, and then a neutral site game against Michigan. Like they have a pretty easy schedule until the Michigan game.
Excuse me. Wait. Do they really play Michigan?
Yeah, in Indianapolis for the Big Ten
Yeah, they
championship.
don't. They don't play Michigan, do they?
I just have one more on Iowa.
Wait, do they? You just listed like 5 home games and 1 road game other than the neutral site game.
That is correct. They have all home games except Nebraska, and then if they make the Big Ten championship, because right now they're the favorites for the Big Ten championship in the
to
West.
Win the whole thing.
No, to make it. Out of the West.
I was like, they're probably 4th on the list at the best.
Yeah. All right, so I just have one more on Iowa. They're in first place in the West with a point differential through 4 league games of -6. They have 61 points, 61 points for, 67 against, 61 points scored in conference play, while last place in the West, Illinois has 66 points for. They just have 118 points against. Michigan State has 49 points scored in conference play, by the way, so far. So Iowa's offense is pretty explosive compared to Michigan State. One step further take, not a hot take, but definitely not a cold take. What's yours?
Ohio State will be ranked number 1 in the next rankings.
Okay.
They've got the best. They'll have the best resume. I think they're gonna. You'll see later on what I think about this week's game, but I think they'll have the best resume after this week. So I don't think they'll.
That would mean the pollsters drop Georgia. I don't remember who they play, but
It doesn't matter. They play in the SEC. They don't play anyone good.
I mean, that's kind of my point. Is I think unless they lose, they're not dropping. But
I don't know. I don't think it's a guaranteed that just because you won a natty last year that you're going to be number 1 the whole season.
Yeah, but being in the SEC doesn't hurt. All right, so 2 weeks ago, I said Penn State was going to beat Ohio State. Last week, I said Penn State was going to beat Ohio State by double digits. Penn State will win on Saturday by hanging triple digits on Ohio State. They're going to hang 100. I'm just kidding. Zach. All right, not a hot take, but definitely not a cold take. Ohio State has a real chance to win on Saturday. All right, for real. My for real one step further take is that Iowa could be the first Big Ten team to finish with 11 wins and be unranked.
That's solid.
Thank you. All right, rapid fire Turd pile picks. Rutgers at Indiana.
Rutgers.
Minnesota at Iowa. Iowa's favored by 3.5. I got Iowa.
This is one of those games. The West just when you think the West makes sense, it doesn't. I got Minnesota here.
All right. Wisconsin only favored by 2.5 after last week at Illinois. I got Wisconsin.
Yeah, I got Wisconsin.
If there's any team that's going to claw this away from Iowa, with Iowa stumbling against that terrible schedule down the stretch, Wisconsin's in second place. So I think it'll be them. Maybe they'll bounce back, even though they lost their quarterback for the year. Northwestern at Nebraska. Nebraska, 11-point favorites. I got Nebraska. Northwestern's just too terrible.
Yeah, I got Nebraska.
Yeah. On to the varsity games. Michigan favored by 24.5 at Michigan State. I wonder if people are going to be allowed to bet on this game now that this huge scandal is out. I'm also a little surprised it's this low, but whatever. I'll let you go first, actually.
You know, I picked Michigan State preseason, and I feel like they gave me every single possible good excuse to back out of that pick. You know, like I don't think it could be worse right now than it was at the beginning of the season. But I'm going to double down. I don't care. Michigan got caught cheating this week, and I think it's going to be too much, and Michigan State's going to figure it out. They're going to have to switch up their offense a little bit, And so I think Michigan State will find a way to win this game. They'll win 21-16.
God bless you. Because my lead for the pick standings has been shrinking. And so this is going to give me another little boost. So thank you for that.
You hope.
Michigan State is trying to build excitement around this game by announcing they'll be wearing all black uniforms this week. But it's a weird brag to say you're wearing black to your own funeral, is it not? That's kind of weird.
Or are they wearing black to Jim Harbaugh's funeral?
I doubt it.
Okay.
Huh?
I guess that okay.
Okay. MSU interim coach Harlan Barnett said this week that Michigan State is the best rivalry in football, which is silly because it's not even the best rivalry in the conference. It's not even the best rivalry in the division.
Not even the best rivalry in the state.
Yeah, you and I both believe that Michigan Ohio State is the best rivalry in all of sports, not just football, but not just college football. And I get that Harlan Barnett is trying to get some hype for this game for some reason, when best case more people are going to see his team get destroyed on national TV in the primetime slot. MSU fans always crave and think they deserve for some reason, but come on. Blake Corum said that they haven't forgotten about the tunnel from last year, but they also haven't really spoken about it. However, Mike Sainristil shared a Harbaughism this week that I think is pretty relevant and telling, especially now that Harbaugh's pissed off again at the NCAA. A faithful man forgives, a smart man forgets, but a Harbaugh remembers. He said that in response to a question about the tunnel. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to try to run it up. I think Michigan is going to try to fulfill another Harbaughism, which is win with character, win with cruelty. It'll be shades of the 2019 game when Michigan left Shea Patterson in late and pulled out a fake run late in the fourth so that Shea Patterson could throw one more touchdown to make it 44-10 with just over 2 minutes left or 3 minutes left. Michigan State always has at least one drive where they look like a different team, but unless they complete their probable objective of injuring J.J. McCarthy, they're probably going to look like the same old Spartans yet again and get destroyed by the best team they've played this season. But just like the second best team MSU played, Washington, when Michigan is throwing the ball around and scoring in the fourth quarter more than normal, it will be with Jack mother friggin' Tuttle in to avoid the unnecessary cheap shots landing on J.J. McCarthy and the other starters. Washington won 41-7, but I think Michigan gets out of that trash can of a stadium 52-7, their largest win of the year so far.
I'm gonna jump ahead to my things no one is talking about because it has to do with this game. So my thing for no one's talking about this week is Michigan's fourth in the country at converting third downs. Pretty impressive, right? My thing that nobody's talking about is Michigan State's defense is third in the country at getting stopped on third down.
Dang.
Third best in the country. I think Michigan will struggle on third down because it's the first time that they've played a team. And I don't even know if I can say that.
Here's the thing. How many offenses has Michigan State played? I feel like you made that up.
No, I didn't make it up. Laughed. I really didn't. I didn't make that stat up. It's all right. Okay, real. Cool.
How many third downs did Washington have? The one offense that Michigan State has played.
So I can remember. Well, I was at that game, and I remember about halfway through the third quarter, I was like, Washington has 0 third down conversions. How's that even possible? I think they were like 0 for 1 at that point or something.
Great.
But
so
yeah, that's probably
really
why they
down on third down. Fantastic.
That's probably why they have one of the best defenses for third down conversions, is because they just give up a lot of first downs on first and second down.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm just picking stats out that don't really make sense to try and convince myself Michigan State's going to win this game.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to back out of that pick.
No, you shouldn't.
Yeah,
Spartans will.
they
Game
might.
of the week.
Spartans might.
Spartans probably won't.
Not like Spartans might, but like Spartans might.
Yeah. I'm saying like Spartans probably won't, like, because they suck balls. Number 7, Penn State at number 3, Ohio State. Ohio State's favored by 4. Last I checked. You want me to go first or second? It's your game.
You can go first. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything like crazy to say about this game.
All right.
Do you have anything crazy to say?
Maybe.
All right, I'll go first.
All right.
Because I mean, I feel like you should go second just because like it's obvious who I'm picking. I've already made that clear. You've kind of been back and forth about it a little bit now. It seems like
Have
so.
I?
No. What your what's that segment called? The one step further take was Ohio State has a chance, right? Wasn't that the?
Well, that was one of my joke ones. Yeah.
Oh, right. I forgot you were kidding. So Penn State's defense has been extremely good. Obviously, like some statistics are the best in the country, but they haven't played an offense in the top 75 in total offense, and I just don't like Penn State's. I don't think that stat matters that much as far as like Penn State's defense. I don't think is not elite just because they haven't played a good offense, but it's not like they're actually only going to give up 120 passing yards to Ohio State unless there's some weather that I don't know about. But there might be some weather I don't know about.
Well, and if Kyle McCord is as soft as CJ Stroud.
Well, I don't think either of them are soft, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I just don't think Penn State's defense is good enough to stop guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., Cade Stover. Even if Emeka Egbuka's out, like we've talked about those receivers a million times, Travion hopefully will be back, but I don't think it'll matter. I think Ohio State's defense is so good that Penn State. I don't think Penn State will score enough points to win the game, and I think that JTT might be so focused on JTT that there's going to be some other dudes flying around hitting Penn State. There's Ohio State's got dudes other than JTT, even though he was the big name last year in this game. But I just don't think Penn State has what it takes.
He was the reason they won last year.
Well, yeah, he had arguably the greatest defensive performance I've seen in my entire life.
Yeah,
like I don't see why he wouldn't do it again though. Like why not?
Why not?
But I just don't think James Franklin is the guy. Like ever since that 4th and 6 draw call, I will never pick Penn State over Ohio State. Ohio State could be 0-6 right now. James Franklin would find a way to blow it.
I mean, I've said over and over and over that I'm not a James Franklin guy, but so you still think Ryan Day's that guy?
Yeah, Ohio State will win this game. I got them by 3. I really think they'll win by a lot more than that, but
okay. I've been saying most of the season so far that Ohio State would lose at least one in October. That was one of my one step further takes, that it would be at least one. But since Wisconsin crapped the bed last week, this one's got to be it. James Franklin has only ever beaten Ohio State in Columbus. I think he does it again. I think McCord struggles against a real defense. The running game continues to struggle. The talk about Ryan Day from the fan base starts to intensify leading up to the game. I do think that Ohio State's defense is going to be able to keep them in it against another underwhelming backfield and young quarterback. But I think Penn State gets it done by 3.
Okay. What if they tie? Who wins?
The world. Because then Michigan's victory over Penn State and Ohio State makes it not matter. And Penn State, Ohio State not mattering is a world I want to live in.
No, honestly, that would be like worst case scenario for Michigan, because then if they drop either of those games and either team wins out, then
ties are impossible in college.
Right. But like that's worst case scenario for Michigan if they could tie.
The NCAA is just like, Jim Harbaugh. Let's let either of these teams in before him. Yeah. Things nobody's talking about. You already said yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So definitely bowl bound 2-4 Indiana has been outscored in 3 Big Ten games by a combined 92 points. They lost to Michigan by 45. They lost to Maryland by 27, thanks to an Indiana touchdown with 25 seconds left, or it would have been a 34-point loss. And then in a game featuring a combined total of 2 offensive touchdowns, they lost to Ohio State by 20. Not enough people are talking about that.
For real.
Tweet of the week. I got 2.
I've got one.
All right, I'll do one and then you can do one. This is from a number of people since it's from a press conference, but linebacker Michael Barrett said, "It's like Coach always says, we're in the ass-kicking business and business is booming." What's yours?
Oh, my tweet of the week is from the College Game Days account. Them tweeting that Ohio State star quarterback is coming back to Columbus. CJ Stroud's going to be the guest picker. I think that's awesome. How many times have you seen that? Like a rookie being the guest picker on College Game Day. That's pretty crazy to me. They just knew they got to bring in the greatest NFL rookie quarterback of all time. So,
my favorite Ohio State quarterback of all time. That's awesome. My second one is from Scott Bell. I guess this is my last comment on the investigation. My thoughts on today's NCAA investigation news. Michigan State fans choosing to play the morality card tells you everything you need to know about the strength of their football card. Because they suck real bad. Get it?
Yeah. Okay.
That's all. Because they're really bad at football. I'm so glad you picked them for real. I thought you were going to back out of it.
No, dude, my mom's a Michigan State fan. Picking Michigan State for my mom.
You can't argue with that logic.
Right.
All right. Well, until I get to laugh at you about your pick, giving me some wiggle room.
You can laugh at me.
In our pick standings. See you next week. Go Blue.
Go Buckeyes.